Welcome into another edition of The Rundown here on Big Rapids Daily News and WBRN. Brandon Wirt, Jack Heckman giving you the good stuff here, and we got a great episode for you here today. Not only boys and girls hoops, but also we're talking about some wrestling. February 7th is coming quick, fast, in a hurry for the CSAA tournament, and we'll get you some teams and athletes to look out for. And we're talking about championship season, Jack, now. Winter sports are pretty much almost now to the pinnacle point. It's going to be a very exciting month here in February.
Yeah, most definitely. Those practices are starting to get playoff ready for all these teams.
Absolutely. And we'll touch on bowling as well in a future episode, so be sure to subscribe as we'll chat about that here once their competitions are set and done coming up here at the end of this week. Big thanks goes out to our sponsors before we get started, including Eagle Village and Denny's Muffler and Brakes. You can find those great sponsors, and big thanks to all of those that support the Rundown. You can find more information on your screen in front of us if you're watching, or you can also log online to WBRN.com and get more information on those businesses there, wherever that you have your needs. All right, let's take a look here at our boys and girls hoops recap here, our score recaps rather. Looking at some scores from Monday, Tri-County, Newaygo go to overtime, 59-54. The Vikings win it. Lakeview makes it 4 in a row against Merrill at home by 17. Big Rapids pulls off a big win over Manistee, 59-52 in their gym, as well as Moy Stanwood holds off Everett at home 59-51. White Cloud falls to Ravenna at home 81-49, the final score reported there. And Chippewa Hills battles at Shepherd, but it's the Blue Jays over the Warriors 48-35 there in boys hoops from Monday. Taking a look at Tuesday as well. Chippewa Hills back-to-back games and unfortunately back-to-back losses for Coach Darnell's team, 63-43 against Alma. And Central Montcalm and Belding battled, and we actually have a score in dispute right now, but right now as it stands, Montcalm the winner by 3, and we'll see if we can confirm that for you. Molly Stanwood holds off Mayo 41-29, and Reed City takes down Ithaca 63-41. We'll talk about some games here, but first, Jack, your thoughts, especially Big Rapids, Manistee. You were in the building. Cole Heist was awesome, and I mean, despite all the circumstances, a Monday game without your head coach, they still found ways to win.
Yeah, Cole Heist was hitting everything in that first half, 22 in the first half, and then they basically tried to neutralize him as much as he could. They were basically playing 4-on-4 basketball for a while. Cole Heist hit 5 clutch free throws in the second half, the only way he was able to score because it was so difficult for him to get the ball. This was a whole game where the entire team played their role and everybody had their own different way of putting their touch on the game. Owen Craven diving for balls in the half court. Liam McLaughlin had some great passes. Isaac Wilhelm had a heck of a night with a couple assists, getting Lamont Belvin involved down low. The Cardinals were able to pick apart Manistee, and they had their way all night.
Yeah, that's a big win, and Reed City also got a big win against Ithaca. For them especially, great game from Peyton Gogolowski, season high 29 for him unofficially. Grayson Ween as well continues to play so well. Good brand of basketball as a freshman, and it was a really good overall performance. A little bit of a slow start for the Coyotes, down in the first quarter, but man, they ramped it up in the second quarter and the second half for a big-time win. And looking as well at some of these scores, I mean, Tri-County holds off Newaygo in what was a very close affair. And as well, I mean, especially looking, Central Montcalm had everything thrown at them, every single wrench near the kitchen sink against Belding, but they found a way, based on what we know, found a way to win. So for the Hornets, I mean, that's a testament to how well they've been playing this year with Johns, Cooper, and especially Evan Ralston. That team is going to be ready to go in the postseason.
Yeah, most definitely. This team has played a lot of great teams. They're a really battle-tested team, and they've come out on top on 11 of their 12 contests. Their only loss coming against Grant, which is a tough team. We both know that. For the last couple seasons, they've been the best team in the CSAA. But this Hornets team is really going to take a test to the rest of this season, and they're going to be battle-tested for the playoffs.
Absolutely. And they also have a better NPR than Grant right now, so that's going to be very interesting to follow moving forward. Let's take a look at the girls' scores from Monday and Tuesday. Tri-County Newaygo duked it out. It's the Lions over the Vikings on the road, 57-27. Harrison takes down Lakeview 58-22, and Chip Hills gets a win over Farwell, 57-16, the final score reported there from Remus. Taking a look there at Tuesday, a couple games to report. Molly Stanwood over Mayo, 74-59, the final score. I actually heard that online that Mayo had a score, or maybe it's Mio. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. So if you're from there, apologies if I had some a misunderstanding. But I mean, they had a score of 52 points, but 52 only equals 59 in total with the 7 from the rest of her teammates. But Molly Stanwood finds a way to win. Reed City, dominant win at Carson City Crystal. They make it a business trip Trip 53-8, and Central Montcalm holds off Belding in the final moments 55-53. What an entertaining game there. And Alma takes down Chippewa Hills 44-30. The final scores there in girls hoops. Jack, any thoughts on some of these games? I mean, especially Big Rapids not being able to play Cedar Springs, the one I'm sure we were looking forward to. But overall, I mean, Central Montcalm winning a really close game. They might be 500, but they're still battle-tested. And especially, I mean, you look at Molly Stanwood, they're just taking care of business left, right, and center.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll start with the Mohawks team. They're a team that's, playing really good basketball, and they actually trail in the fourth quarter of this game, and they come back. They have a dominant fourth quarter, just an amazing team effort to go out there and get the win. They shot the ball really well, hit their free throws when it mattered. And then switching over the Big Rapids side of things, they've kept their foot on the gas pedal throughout games. And last week the Mount Pleasant game is it's a tough loss, losing by 7, but keeping their foot on the gas pedal. And they had a big time win against Chip Hills 53-29. And another team we hadn't talked about, Newaygo, their team had a tough start to the season, starting 2-4, and now they've come out and rattled off some big time wins. That's a team to watch going forward.
Absolutely. And some games happening tonight as we're recording this on Wednesday. And you mentioned Newaygo playing Reed City, a well-anticipated matchup. We'll have scores to recap as well coming up later on Friday with our scores to report on Big Rapids Daily News. You can stay on the lookout for that. And Chip Hills as well. I mean, playing really well. They get the win earlier on in the week. Fall to a good Alma team, 8-4 on the season. So certainly, for that squad, you look at that and you say, hey, we played really well. We hung with them. Overall, would have loved the win, but still, they're playing some good basketball and are a much improved team from last year overall based on what we're seeing. Let's take a look now at some previews for the later games this week, and then we'll get into some wrestling, so stay around for that if you're looking forward to that. Got some big games on tap here later on this week. We'll start especially with the Thursday games as the Wednesday games, and might as well not preview because you probably won't hear about them because they already happened. But a lot of good games coming up. Kent City will be playing Hart. That's going to be a good one there from Kent City on boys' side. It'll be flipped for the girls. They will be playing in Hart. I mean, the Pirates and the Eagles in Hart, come on. That's going to be a really fun game. You got 15 combined wins, only 5 losses from those two squads. Going to be a really fun matchup. Then you look at the Friday matchups. Big Rapids hosting Tri-County. Central Montcalm hosting Lakeview. Newaygo will be hosting Grant in their snow-coming games in the M37 rivalry. Reed City will be hosting Chippewa Hills. And White Cloud will be hosting Molly Stanwood there in boys and girls action. Girls will be first at 5:30 for all of those games. Boys will be at 7 o'clock for all those games. And Jack, you mentioned we were bringing on air with some of our notes. Really, it seems like a very chalk-esque type of schedule, but we've now reached a point where we've seen teams winning, oh my goodness, like up above, 3-4 tenths their NPR and losing the same. So it's going to be wide open. What are some games you're watching this Friday?
Yeah, it's most definitely been a crazy season. You talked about the Kent City Hart game, the Thursday game. That's going to be an interesting one. But I think you got it. It's the Reed City Coyotes and the Chippewa Hills Warriors. That's a big-time game for both these teams, just based on where they're at in the standings. Chip Hills being 4-1, getting that win over Big Rapids last Friday. Reed City not playing last Friday. This is a big-time game where now you can switch. Chip Hills with the loss would be 4-2. Reed City with the win would be 3-2, and now you're right there for second place, and now you're going to go out and battle for second place the rest of the season. If Reed City were to win, now Chip Hills could come out and add some, get on top, and now you're 5-1 in the conference, and you're only 1 game behind Grant. That's a game they're going to need late in the season.
Absolutely, and that was a 9-point affair in Remus earlier on this season, and now the Coyotes on an opportunity. If they win against Newaygo, would make it 2 in a row, looking for 3 in a row against Chippewa Hills, and as well on the varsity girls side, arguably maybe even a better matchup. Those two teams play in the season opener to a 1-point final second thriller. But also, I mean, you look at Big Rapids, they're rolling with that big win against Manistee, see if they can take care of Tri-County again. And I think especially when you look for White Cloud, I mean, Molly Stanwood's been up and down this season, so if White Cloud, the chance to strike might be now for Molly Stanwood. They've had some struggles in the recent Friday games, but we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. But on the girls' side as well, Newaygo against Grant might be a very intriguing affair. Newaygo's probably the favorite in that game, but it's snow coming, so you just never know.
Most definitely. That's a game you mentioned. That game could go either way. I talked a little bit about Newaygo and the way they've been able to stack wins ever since that Christmas break. They're off to a really hot start in the new year. Grant's a team, though, that's been sneaky. They've kind of been hanging around with a couple teams, been able to rattle off, some close games, but they've also had some games where they've kind of just fallen apart early in games. This could be a big-time matchup for both squads.
Absolutely, and Newaygo plays better when they play better defensively on that side, and Coach Thompson has done a great job, so we'll see if that pans out. Those are our games coming up for cover basketball. Now let's switch on over to wrestling here on this exclusive edition. And now before we start, obviously big thanks goes out to our sponsors, RivalsMI.com. Get your local rivalry merch as well as local Legends gear. RivalsMI.com, free shipping over $50. As well as big shout out to Dazos Digital. Target your target audience with the experts at DazosDigital.com for your business moving forward. Now before we start, obviously wrestling, we have all of some stats that we have provided, from some coaches that have been gracious enough to give us some things, and obviously what we were able to scour the internet, and we know some coaches were busy, weren't able to get us some of the info we were looking for, but that's okay. Wrestling is just one of those sports, and those that play it or parents that follow it know it's one of those things you almost have to keep the chicken scratch on a notepad throughout the season to keep track of everything, because there's so many duels, there's so many tournaments, there's so many points, there's so many matchups in a given weekend that you have to keep track of. But overall, what we're going to do, we're going to get you some of what we have gathered from intel on what are some good teams and some notable individuals for these teams, and especially when you look at some rankings as well. We'll start with Kent City, a really good team, number 10 in Division 3 as far as how the Michigan Grappler has their ranking system going, and their lightweights have been fantastic this year. Dylan Russo, a true freshman, number 5 in Division 3 at 106. Sammy Anderson, a talented running back for the Eagles, has now really done well on the wrestling mat at 126, and Adam Hunter is a sophomore at 138. Kent City's been very impressive so far, and right now we know Lakeview is the defending champion, but maybe Kent City's got something to say about that.
Yeah, most definitely. I think this is one of the more talented teams inside the conference. And you mentioned it, ranked 10th inside Division 3, and they've earned it. They're a team from top to bottom. You mentioned the lightweights, but this is a full team, full squad that's going out there. In every single duel, every single meet, they are the team to beat pretty much.
Absolutely. And as we look at Central Montcalm as well, a couple other ranked wrestlers for them. Jordan Apps, number 15 in Division 3 at 106. Russo against Apps could be a very interesting matchup if those two line up. And then Braden Peak as well, very talented athlete at 132 in his senior season, has been very good. And I think especially for Central Montcalm, they've done a great job with their schedule. You're looking at a lot of these tournaments that they're competing at. They're competing against Chip Hills. They got the district coming up. They're going to be at Whitehall. They're going to have some tough contests, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And I think it's going to be really fun to see where they line up, as well as some of the other teams in the CSAA White that are competing against the CSAA Red teams with this whole CSAA Blue all in one division in wrestling.
Yeah, most definitely. I think Tri-County is a team where you talked about earlier with a couple of matchups. How about Adam Hunter and Isaac Gitchell, two guys ranked inside, 16th from Gitchell in Division 3 at the 138 weight class, and then Adam Hunter at 9th. That's a one to monitor going forward, that, hey, maybe these two guys are going to line up in conference, maybe line up further down the line. That's one to monitor going forward.
Absolutely. You mentioned the Vikings. A preseason honorable mention and some of the preseason rankings for Michigan Wrestling. And they've done a great job. They beat Reed City. They've had a really strong CSAA record so far, so they're going to be a team to look out for. And Chip Hills is always a team to look out for, a very perennial program that's very competitive under Coach Vogel, district champions last year. A little bit younger squad this year, but still have Jake Edwards, who has been phenomenal at the 144, and Carson Humphrey has won some tournaments along the way, so he's got a lot of confidence as well for the Warrior squad.
Yeah, you mentioned it. They're always one of those teams to beat inside the conference. Everybody, they got a target on their back, and this year they've lost some, but they've also had some growing pains, and they're going to keep growing going forward into the postseason.
Absolutely. Looking at Reed City as well, Coach Stieg, already 20 wins on the season for the Coyotes as well. They won their Holiday Rumble tournament for the first time, so a lot of accomplishments there, but still some phenomenal athletes. Damon Langworthy, 31 wins on the season. Andrew Kiana, state ranked already in Division 3, as well as Chris Wolgamont, the same. This is a team that has some heavyweights that can throw down, so they're going to be really looking to see if they can score in those higher weight classes.
Yeah, most definitely. You mentioned the heavyweights for Reed City. This is a team that's, they've got, you mentioned the 20 wins already, one of the higher teams in success. They're a team that's going forward. You got to keep your eyes on the Coyotes, even just outside of the conference. Maybe you're watching this, you're a team looking in, they're talking about wrestling. We might as well tune into this. We're talking about Reed City. This is a team that you want to watch going forward.
A lot of athletes on this team. We could say the same thing for Big Rapids as well. Might not have the same number of wins on the season, but Coach Hoffman's got a lot of great competitors on this squad. Bryce Seltzer was second at the Ithaca Invite earlier on this year, and you got Austin Brand, a regional qualifier from a year ago, so they're going to have some experience going into some of these district and even hopefully regional state championship rounds. And Aaliyah Kelsch as well on the girls side, first varsity win for her, and so I love to see as well that we're having the girls wrestling space starting to expand as well, and some of these CSAA athletes from these schools are able to stand out against the state of Michigan in girls wrestling.
Yeah, most definitely. Loving to see the sport grow into what it has become. And now you see more people getting involved. It's always great for sports to get it involved more around.
Absolutely. And Grant the same. Marky Davis has been very good as a first medalist for the Grant girls program. And for Coach Schultz and the Tigers, I mean, they were district champion a year ago. They had smaller numbers this year. You know, people are saying, oh, man, not as many numbers. We'll have to see how it plays out. And then you got Cash and Atwood, who's absolutely dominating after coming up just a smidge short from All-State last year, only 2 points away. But Atwood's been great, number 6 in Division III at 132. And so this Grant Tigers squad's going to be good. Their N37 rivals, Newaygo, learning a lot. It's a lot of a younger team battling through a tough schedule. They're going to have some hills to climb, but still a team to be looking out for. And last but certainly not least, I mean, you're talking about the defending champs in Lakeview, a 28-win squad last year under Coach Barton. Preseason honorable mention as far as in Division 4. They got 7 returners. You got Bryce Jeffrey, you got Bryson Banks, you got Lucas Vale. All of them have been phenomenal so far for them this season. Lakeview certainly is the team to catch right now, but you know what? That gap might have shrunk a little bit when you look at some of the other classes from these other teams. You know, you're looking at how well Kent City's done in the lightweight. You look at Reed City at the heavyweight. You look at Chip Hills, all very versatile across weight classes. So if there's a year, maybe it's the collective trying to knock off the previous last year's champs in Lakeview, but you just never know. We're going to have to find out in Newaygo on February 7th.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, I'll talk about Kent City here for a moment. That 10th of Division III means something to them, but it also means something to everybody else in the conference that they now have that target on their back being ranked.
Absolutely. And we'll make some picks here. Is there a sleeper pick, Jack, you thinking, just based on who you're seeing? I mean, I know who I like, and people are going to hate me because I'm the homer, but, I mean, look out for Reed City. I know Coach Steeg's got this team ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, Big Rapids has got some, you know, they've struggled. You know, Henry Cornell, a guy we didn't really talk about too much. He's having a great season. But I think it's, you know, the favorite is Kent City right now. And I think I'm going to have to stick with them to go out on top and win this whole thing.
I like it as well. And look out for Central Montcalm. They might not have all of the state ranked, but they still have some great depth on that squad. So they have to look out for that. Conference championships February 7th, and then they're getting into district rounds. And it's going to be really exciting. Team districts February 11th and 12th. Individual districts that following 14th and 15th, and it all leads up to regionals the next following week, and then you got the state finals, the Mecca at Ford Field coming up on March 6th and 7th. Should be a great time, and it's great to see a lot of these names that we've mentioned, a lot of these guys that have made it already to the state finals that are looking to do it again, and it's really exciting to see that Central State Activities Association being represented in Central Michigan with some of these fine athletes.
Yeah, most definitely. We got athletes. Maybe you heard about them on the gridiron, or you heard about them maybe during baseball season. We talk about all these guys, and I love getting to know more of these sports, and especially a sport like wrestling that doesn't get a whole lot of love from the rest of the state. I love that we went out and highlighted and got some of these guys the attention they need.
Absolutely. It might not be everything you were looking for, but hopefully just enough to give you some love for wrestling. So we love our wrestlers out there. Enjoy the competitive atmosphere, and it's going to be around the corner, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So we're really excited for that. That's going to conclude our coverage here on The Rundown. Big thanks to you guys for tuning in as well. We do have just a quick alert for you here. We actually heard from over on Big Country 100.9 for those that follow along with it. Some might have heard about the live auction as well. The new auction site is live, so you can check that out as well on Big Country 100.9, one of our affiliates here with Big Rapids Daily News and WBRN here on The Rundown. Still a quick little, shameless plug, little shout out for them. But it's going to be a great week of hoops, going to be a great week of wrestling. We'll get to some bowling later on here in The Rundown later on, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And it's going to be a great finish to this winter slate here, Jack, as long as no igloos are built up from the ice in the roads.
Yeah, most definitely. Got to keep the cancellations low. We've already had so many.
So many indeed. You can follow along with us on Big Rapids Daily News on YouTube or WBRN every Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Until then, this has been a presentation of The Rundown here on Big Rapids Daily News and WBRN.